Hello, I'm Dinesh D'Souza, and in this segment I'm going to draw on a couple of chapters from my new book, The Roots of Obama's Rage. Obama's ideology, the anti-colonial ideology, is derived from his father, Barack Obama Sr. And we should focus for a moment on this strange and magnetic and powerful man. Obama Sr. was a very peculiar character. He married a young woman named Kezia in Kenya. They had a child, and when she was pregnant with the second, he abandoned the family to come to America. A year later, he met Obama's mother, Anne, married her and had Obama. Before Obama was 2, he abandoned that family. By the way, he didn't tell Anne he was already married, so he was already a bigamist at this point. But he left his family in Hawaii with young Obama and his mom and went to Harvard, where he took up with a third woman, Ruth Nidesand, who was a teacher at Harvard, and he married her, took her back to Kenya and had 2 children by her. But while she was in Kenya, he reconnected with his original wife, Kezia, and had 2 more children with her. Then later in life, he married a 4th woman and impregnated her. So altogether, he had 4 wives and 8 children. He looked after none of the wives and none of the children. He was also an alcoholic. At Harvard, he was called Mr. Double-Double because he would order a double scotch, and the moment it came, he would say, "Another double." So that's where the double-double came in. And later in life, he became a reckless drunk driver. He got into multiple accidents, in one point killing a man, in another point getting so injured himself that both his legs had to be amputated and replaced by iron legs. So he would bounce around on these 2 iron legs and rage against the world for not fulfilling his great potential and his great genius and his great ambition. So he's a very odd man for Obama to make his hero. And yet, Barack Obama Sr. was not only a brilliant man, but he was a man with a magnetic personality. Now here's an example of that. Barack Obama Sr. visited his son, Barack Obama Jr., only once when he was 10. Now here's Obama. When we think of young Obama, it's not the lean, confident Obama we see now in the Oval Office. Young Barack Obama was fat, he was unsightly, he was shy, withdrawn, and in fact, he was so insecure in school that he had built up a false image of his father. He told everybody in his class that Barack Obama Sr., his father, was actually the head of a Zulu type of tribe of warriors, that he was a kind of American Indian chief, if you will, and that he, Barack, was next in line. So his classmates half believed him, but then something horrible happened. Barack Obama Sr. came to visit. And Obama said, "Oh my gosh," because his teacher invited Obama Sr. to speak to the school, speak to his class. And Obama says, "Oh no, when my dad comes, this will be horrible. My lies will be discovered. He'll talk about living in a hut. It's going to be awful." So Obama Sr. appears to speak to the class. And Obama says, young Obama says, "I was sitting in my classroom, I was terrified, and then, oh no, the math teacher walks in, bringing in another procession of students, another class to listen to his father." And Obama says, "I was so terrified, I looked at a little dot on the blackboard, and I fixed my eyes on it, so while everybody is looking at me, I didn't look away from that dot. I just concentrated on it." And he says, "My father had already started speaking when I finally had to kind of zoom into him." But then Obama noticed something incredible. Young Obama noticed that his father had a mesmerizing effect on the class because his father talked about Africa, the land where creation first occurred. He talked about the ancient elders. He talked about young boys having to wrestle with a lion to prove their manhood. He talked about the struggle of Kenya to be free. And by the time he was done, the class was gaping. They were shocked. And after the bell rang, they all came up to young Barack Obama, congratulated him, "Your dad is so cool, your dad is so fantastic." And so here's little plump Obama, and he realized his dad has got the magic. And he said, "How do I get that? How do I become like that?" And now I want to fast forward a few years in which Barack Obama Jr. is courting his wife, Michelle. And Michelle, this is from her own words as told to the Democratic Convention, Michelle says, "When I met Obama," she goes, "I was on my guard. He had the leather jacket, he had the cool look, he had the cigarette dangling from his mouth." She goes, "He was a bad brother. I've been through this before. I know the fast-talking, smooth-acting guy." She goes, "I was very suspicious of him." She says, "But then he took me to a church basement where there were a group of people collected, and he stood up and he spoke. And she said, the things that he said then have remained with me, Michelle, until now. She said, by the time he was done, in effect, I was his. I took him to meet my family. So my point is, Obama got the magic. He figured out a way to assimilate his father's personality, and that's what he does now. He hooked Michelle, he's hooking the rest of us. He has this great ability, whatever he's doing, to stand up. Remember the Jeremiah Wright controversy. He's in big trouble, but he gives his race relations speech. He massages everybody. We're all mesmerized. The New York Times calls it the profile in courage, and somehow we can all move on because Barack Obama has spoken and the oracle has spoken. So Obama was able to get not only his father's ideology, but also his magnetic personality, and that's a formidable combination.